Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Inept General bringing you a Total War Warhammer Legendary Hero lore video. And today we are going to be looking at Ghoritch. He is the new character in the upcoming The Twisted and the Twilight DLC for Total War Warhammer 2. Now, certain sections of this video have been taken from my Throt the Unclean video, so if you've seen that, you may feel like you can give this one a skip, but if you haven't, please do sit back and enjoy. So let's take a look at the story of Ghoritch. Ghoritch was a lieutenant or general in Archaon's army. He led a foolhardy attack against an Empire artillery train, and his tribe, who were probably devoted to Khorne, if I'm going to guess, as he was a berserker and ran headlong into a barrage of artillery fire with his entire tribe, got annihilated. It was a lot of blood for the blood god on that day. But Archaon kind of had counted on their troops for later engagements and really got kind of miffed at Ghoritch. And so he had his berserker shackled and wrapped in ropes of thorns, and then delivered him to the Skaven of Clan Moulder, probably knowing full well the horrors that would await him within. For Clan Moulder was very well known for creating monstrosities, and many of the slaves who went in were subject to horrific experiments. And so this was the fate that Archaon had sentenced his once loyal berserker to. And when he arrived with the other slaves and to help it himself, the Master Moulder of Clan Moulder itself noticed him, and he was of good fighting stock. And so Throt the Unclean, the most ingenious and insane of all the monster creators in Hell Pit, took Ghoritch aside to use him for his terrible experiments. Now, what Throt was trying to do was solve the problem of rat ogre stupidity, and so he was trying to make them more effective killing weapons. And Throt, in a moment again of genius and a slight bit of insanity, put the mind of a berserker Norscan into the body of a rat ogre, and it took. Ghoritch awoke to find himself an augmented rat ogre with his intelligence preserved. In shock and probably enraged at what had befallen him, the berserker started to press against his restraints, eventually snapping them. He tore his way out of Throt's laboratory, fighting his way through level upon level of Hell Pit, eventually working his way into the very center of the arena in Hell Pit, where they would hold their blood sports. Throt, trying to control this new creation of his, sent many of his more tame creations after it to try and bring it back. But Ghoritch had the mind of a berserker, and in a frenzy, he started to tear Throt's creations apart piece by piece. The other Master Moulders in Clan Moulder noticed what was going on in the arena, and the spectacle drew quite an audience. This was clearly an individual of fantastic killing prowess, and could be hugely helpful in helping maintain order among the ranks of Clan Moulder's more wild creations. And so it was decided that this berserker rat ogre crossbreed would be spared, and in fact have the opportunity to climb the social ladder within Clan Moulder itself, eventually rising to the rank of chieftain and taking over many of the armies of Lord Verminkin and Clan Moulder, leading them into glorious battle. Now, Throt was not particularly happy with this, as Ghoritch began to get the attention of Lord Verminkin. Lord Verminkin began to elevate Ghoritch to lead many of his armies, and this enraged Throt. He did not want to make a rival for political power, something that grew beyond his control. He just wanted to try and make rat ogres a bit more intelligent. And so although Throt was the creator of Ghoritch, he does kind of keep him at arm's length and distrusts the Norscan berserker in the rat ogre body. Now, we are going to get to see Ghoritch in the upcoming DLC, The Twisted and the Twilight, so that will be fun to see their relationship play out. Now, it is maybe worth making a small note here that the story of Ghoritch isn't actually mentioned in any of the army books. In fact, I think he appeared in an issue of White Dwarf when they were highlighting somebody's created army, and I think Creative Assembly has just run with the idea of it. Now, it's a fun idea, but in terms of him being sort of mainline canon, there are some questions about it. He did get some rules, however, in issue 311 of the old run of White Dwarf, so let's take a look at some of his tabletop rules. Now, being a berserker, sort of having his head transplanted into a rat ogre, having these horrible deadly claws, he of course could inspire fear in his opponents if you saw this thing charging at you, as we saw in the trailer for the Twisted and the Twilight DLC. Very intimidating, so yes, he causes fear. He had a rule called Beastmaster Moulder, where in a sort of 6-inch radius around the model, units could reroll failed psychology tests if they were from Clan Moulder. He also had the rule called Brain Transplant, the idea that he was still a berserker underneath all that rat ogre flesh, and so as a berserker, he was granted the rule for Frenzy. And he also had his piston-driven claws, which allowed no armor saves against his attacks. So in Total War Warhammer 2, we may see him have very high armor-piercing damage. So that's how he played on the tabletop, guys. A very interesting character, a very sort of niche bit of Warhammer lore that Creative Assembly have dug out here. But yeah, a fun little character to have, and I can't wait to get our hands on him when the Twisted and the Twilight DLC comes up. But that's about it from me now, guys. Thank you for listening, and I hope to catch you all on the next one. Alright, guys. Bye.